Long time no see. I'm back for story time. I think at this point I should just call story time every time I got tried. But we're back. So early 2000s, a college Ebony who thought she was a bad bitch. I was on and off with this guy for like years. But it was one of them situations where that whole, they weren't saying this then, but like looking back, it was what's understood doesn't need to be explained. So we could like deal with each other, we could not deal with each other, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't bring up nobody I was seeing on the side. He wouldn't bring up nobody he was seeing on the side. When we were together, we were together. We didn't really, when we were, I don't know, like even when we broke up, we were still together. So it was kind of like, you still can't bring people around me. I won't bring nobody around you. Okay, we back together. Oh, but Tuesday we broke up again, but Wednesday we got back together. It was like one of those dysfunctional ass situations. But at the end of the day, no matter what happened, we never discussed like outside people. And even, like I said, we'll break up for like 2 days and be back together like on a Saturday night. Whatever. So we're both home from school, which was it was like maybe like a winter break or some shit. And so he hits me up, and this was like one of our like off times. So he hits me up, and he was like, "Hey, E," he was like, "You wanna go to Tampa with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "You gonna drive?" And I was like, "Why I gotta drive?" And then I realized I had the better car out of the scenario. So he was like, "Yeah, we just gonna go to, Ybor City, which is like downtown, or is that downtown Tampa?" Well, it was like Ybor City, and we're gonna like, party, and we're just gonna come back to Orlando. And I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'll drive." So I call my homegirl up. I'm like, "Well, do you want to go to Tampa with me, with old boy and his friends?" And she was kind of like, but eventually, of course, she came. So we go to his aunt's house, who I'm very familiar with his family, like. No matter what was happening between me and him, I still was always invited to family reunions, Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays. Like, I'm a part of their family. So we go to his aunt's house. I'm kicking it with his aunt. We eating Chinese food. We get on the road eventually. I drive us to Tampa. Tampa's like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Orlando. We get to Tampa. We park in the parking garage. We walk downtown, through downtown, to get to the club. So he started acting a little funny, but like I wasn't sure. So we're in line, and boom, random girls appear, these two girls. And I'm like, well, who the fuck is this? But I didn't say who the fuck this was, because naturally you wouldn't bring nobody you fucking with around me, because that's, what's understood doesn't need to be explained. Stupid ass quote. So we get in the club, and me and my friends kind of like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, but the club is really big. And I'm like, well, the club's gonna be closing in about an hour. Let's just ride this shit out. Whatever. We just gonna leave when it's just time to go. So we really can't find him in the club, because this club is big as hell. Finally, like, the club closes. We walk out. They happen to be like right at the exit. I'm not talking, because I'm like pissed, because something ain't right. Because I was like, who the fuck were these girls? And something just wasn't right. So we all end up, I didn't see the girls when I left, but so we all end up going to the parking garage to go to my car so we can go back to Orlando, because I am pissed. We get to the car. I get ready to go in my pocket to grab the key to unlock the door, and boom, a bitch lost the car key. So now we all looking stupid. I'm like, did I give you the car key? They're like, no. I was like, did I give you the car key? They're like, no. So now we're like trying to retrace our steps, trying to find this little ass Honda Civic car key, right? And this is not even like the big thick ones they give you nowadays. It was just like the little regular car key that they had no beep beep on it or nothing. So so we don't retrace our steps. So now we all like, what the hell we're about to do? It's like 3:00 in the morning. The Honda place, that Honda key cost probably like $10 or $15 to like redo, because it was just like the little basic key. So the only thing was to wait till like 8:00 in the morning to go to the Honda dealership. But this is back in the early 2000s, when cell phones weren't as savvy as they are now. There was no Uber, there was no Lyft, there was no like Google Maps. Like it was this when you still had to have a sheet of paper when you like drove somewhere. Like you had like paper, old school paper directions you had to print out. So I'm like, holy shit, what we gonna do? So he finally came up with this idea. He was like, well, I'm gonna call my friends. He just says friend. And I'm like, okay, cool. We could stay there. So Enters the girl who I saw earlier with her mama, picking like all of us up and at like in the parking garage. And like her mom picks me and my homegirl up, and then all the boys get in the car with the girl. So still something not sitting right with my soul, but who am I to complain? So we finally get to the girl's house. Her mom's really nice, gave me and my homegirl a back room. And apparently the boys went off somewhere, didn't see them motherfuckers again. And so we in the room. So my friend is like, I set it off in this motherfucker. So she's like, nah, something ain't right. Let's go out there. Let's something ain't right. I'm like, man, it's like 4 a.m. Like, we can't cut up in this lady house. She's like, no, what the fuck going on? Something ain't right. And I'm like, it's 4 a.m. Chill out. It's really, at this point, our hands are tied. Like, what the hell we gonna do? We college students still. I think my credit cards was maxed out. It was just a mess, right? So it's like, what we gonna do? I can't call a cab, can't get a hotel room, credit cards maxed. My mama don't even know I'm in Tampa right now. I told her I was going to his auntie house and then we was gonna party downtown. My ass is in a whole nother city and county. Like, I've had to call my mom and tell my mom that I was spending the night at his aunt house, so she think I'm at his aunt house sleep, and my ass is in a whole nother city and it's some strangers home. So finally, I'm like, man, just go to sleep. You know, how would we win if we cut up right now, essentially? So we have sleep. I didn't sleep. I tossed and turned. Finally, like 8:01, boom, I'm up. I'm like looking for her mom in their house. And her mom's like, are you ready to go? Bitch, I've been ready. So she takes us to the Honda dealership. So nice. She pays for the car key. No, I paid for the car key. She paid for me to get my car out of the parking garage, because you know they like tax when you leave your car overnight. So I follow her on the way there, though. She's like in the car, like trying to figure out if me and him deal with each other. So she's like, yeah, so, you know, how long have you known him? Is that your boyfriend? Like, what's going on? Like, sometimes you just need to know when a man is not for you. And so she's trying to give me a lecture, because I guess her daughter was like, that's a nigga. I don't know. I still don't even fucking know what happened with that. But either way, I was in the car. My friend was like, bitch, we don't want to hear that shit. Like, just take us to where we want to go. So we ended up going back to her house. I picked them niggas up. I'm like speeding down the highway, music on full blast. I'm fucking pissed. So we finally get back to Orlando, and I dropped everybody off. But one of the guys in the car that was his friend was the one who used to always like comfort me. The one who almost tried to like suicide me. Him. So I dropped everybody off. Now, old boy mad because he's like, why did you go out your way to drop everybody else home just to take him home last? But really, I was taking him home last because I knew I could go to his house and he'll like comfort me and lick my wounds and make me feel pretty and hunch me, right? So I go to his house. So then after a couple hours of being over there, I go home. And so I tell my mom the whole story. And she's like, so let me get this straight. I'm like, what? She was like, your dumb ass took him to see the girl he was talking to? And I was like, well, when you put it that way, yeah. And she's like, yeah, you deserve to lose that goddamn key.